But yeah, so I'm going to start off with the Freedom Minute. I'm going to ask you a question, or we're both going to ask you questions. It's called the Freedom Minute, about 5 questions or so. So first question is going to be, what was your first car, Coach?
My first car was a 1972 GMC 3/4 ton pickup.
Who, in your opinion, who's the greatest athlete? You know, we look at the Herschel Walkers, the Bo Jacksons of the world. Greatest athlete.
I'm going to say, Bo knows. I think it's a toss-up for me between Bo Jackson and Dion, Primetime.
Primetime. There we go. That's a good one. So if you could have a conversation with anyone throughout history, who would it be and why? Dead or alive?
My discussion would probably be with George S. Patton.
General?
Yes, General George S. Patton. Not who I would like to discuss something with.
What would you ask him?
Oh, geez. I'd just ask him about leadership and how he would relate it to today's times.
Yeah, just like the battle, Battle of the Bulge. Talking about all those things, decision making.
How you weigh all those major decisions and all that information coming in at once, and how do you decipher through that and make a call in the prime time.
All right, so this might be a controversial question, but who's the greatest or best athlete you've ever coached?
Ooh.
Oh, geez. At Monache or
anywhere ever?
God, that is a tough one. I would. Wow. There's so many really, really good players, and it's kind of a hard question because there's a lot of guys that have ended up in the NFL, and I know I got a lot of friends in Major League Baseball, but I would honestly say at this time, probably the best athlete would be Kashmir Allen.
Really? UCLA?
State champion in the 100-meter dash and a national record holder in touchdowns. That's kind of hard to beat.
Yeah, he's a stud.
It's kind of special.
He's going into his what year at
Is he
UCLA?
sophomore?
I think he's going to be a junior or senior.
Okay.
He's
had some big moments at UCLA.
He's done some good things. He's a good receiver too.
They moved him from running back to. I'm just kind of going off of high school,
right?
But in college, probably the best that I was around and coached there would probably be, that I directly coached would be probably Omar Stoutmeyer, and he had about 8, 9, 10 years in the league, and I'd be really remiss if I didn't mention James Sanders.
Right.
That guy had a heck of a NFL career and a great college career, great high school career. I mean, he's one of the best I've seen do it.
Were you one of the decisions of why he went to Fresno State, do you think?
An interesting story about that is Fresno State was on him early because Pat Hill and I had a relationship, and I remember it was after the first game. James, we were playing Redwood, and he had 14 tackles from his safety position, and I think 2 or 3 of them from a tackle for loss. And we were playing a lot of quarters coverage, so we kind of had him flat-footed there about 10 yards, and he was coming up and just and killing it. And after I watched the film, I'm like, oh my gosh! So I had just left Fresno State probably a year earlier, and I said, hey, Pat, man, this guy's he's a guy. He's a definite offer guy. So they offered, and then a guy that I had coached with at Fresno State before, Kelly Skipper, he's with the Buffalo Bills now, and he was a all-time great coach, football player at Fresno State, great recruiter. He was at UCLA at the time, and he came in, and they offered late. So what I was thinking is someone they were recruiting at UCLA kind of dropped out. And so Kelly called me and asked me about him. I said, yeah, great player, this and that. Here's his number. And so UCLA came in real late and offered him. And I remember James and I having a discussion, and he said, "Coach, what do I do?" And I said, "Did you commit to Fresno State? Did you give him your word?" And he said, "Yeah, I committed. I told him I was going to be a Bulldog." I said, "Well, then you're a Bulldog." And, he's a man of his word, and he did it, and it worked out really well for him. I'm not sure what would have happened at UCLA, but, it's a different deal here in the Valley. Guys are a lot more homegrown.
Absolutely.
And kind of a man of your word. There's not a lot of guys around here that I don't know, times are changing, but back then, you're a man of your word, and you told Pat, Coach Hill, that you were going to be there, then you're going to be there. And he said, "Okay, that's what I think too, Coach." And it worked out great for him. And there's another guy we had before you guys, you youngins were here, was Joseph Efsef.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a really big time recruit. Oregon was on him. Oregon State, there's a lot of Pac-10 guys. UCLA ended up going to UCLA. Fresno State and everybody. And I remember Jeff Tedford flew down to recruit him, and he was going to do a home visit. And we'd coached together at Fresno State. I was a graduate assistant, and he was the offensive coordinator at the time. And so we met up, and we went to the Mission and had dinner, and we had a couple of drinks, and he's asking questions. And, the funny thing about being an offensive coordinator is you don't have a lot of time to recruit. You're busy doing game plans. You kind of rely on the other guys to do the recruiting for you. And he was coming down, and it's kind of at that time it was a dead area. It's not recruited like it is now. There's everybody's in here now getting these 5.59 guys. And we're sitting at the Mission before he did a home visit with Joseph, and we're having a beer, and I said, "Hey, Teddy, that he's his religion's Mulligan, and they don't eat pork and all that." He goes, "What?" So I had to give him the rundown on all this stuff before he did the home visit. But so he went and did the home visit. Needless to say, he didn't get Joseph. Joseph ended up going to UCLA because they had a special dietary plan and all that stuff in place for him, which was really extraordinary. They went out of their way to get him.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a funny story.
That's awesome. So last question I have for you is, what's your greatest coaching moment?
Oh, wow. I'm not sure wow, that's a tough question.
I'm sure. You've been doing this a long time.
I've been doing it a long time.
Been doing it good, so.
My greatest coaching moment isn't necessarily related to football. My greatest coaching moment is being a part of watching you guys grow up and be successful. Because I was, you're never a good football coach without good players. Okay, I've never. There was never any magic game plan. There's no magic dust that you can throw out there and this and that. But I would say that, the best coaching moment for me is to see you guys grow up and be a police officer and be a successful educator and an athletic director and all those other guys that, there's architects and doctors and there's even a neuroscientist out there from Woodville. Guys like that I think that is probably one of the better accomplishments that and not that I had anything to do with it, but I had a part of it. Hopefully, that's the thing that I would say.
No, that's kind of one of the things I want to talk about, because I remember going to practice and we'd be playing like Slayer Union or something, which is now your alma mater, or not alma mater, but who you coach for now. And I remember they were a lot more athletically better than us. But when we would go to practice, I knew that there was no way that we were going to, literally, we were going to beat their ass no matter what. We never thought we were going to lose no matter what. And that was because of you.
Well, there's the great thing about it is I think there's in this world there's you know, a little bit of I don't know, I wouldn't say fear, but that's a good motivator. I think there's two types of regret in this world. One is the regret of preparation, and I think we always tried to we did a pretty good job of preparing you guys, and the second was the regret of you know, not playing well or not preparing well, and I think a lot of times that we prepared you well. We did a lot of things, guys, that you know, it didn't make sense at the time, but all that waking up at 6 a.m. in the morning doing weights and all that stuff, you know, all the study hall and all those things we did, and the extra running and kind of those butt chewings you guys took all those years, you know, it was for a purpose. It wasn't just because. So I think, you know, my staff did a really good job. We had a focus every week going in, and hey, you know, maybe some of these Tulare Union teams are really good athletically.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we need to kind of placate that a little bit, and then either play it down or play it up, depending on what our group was like. You know, and I think when the talent was pretty close, we did a pretty damn good job with it. You know, we unfortunately for you guys, we ran into some teams that had about, you know, 3-4 guys that ended up in the NFL, and they were really good too. Yeah. You know, so I don't know. You know, you guys all came from great families, and you worked hard, and we just kind of played on that and tried to get you guys in the right position. You know?
Oh, yeah. It's kind of crazy to think about. Like I literally went to every single game. I never thought I was going to lose that game, because what we do, we work so hard every single week, and you would like, I could see the look in your eyes, and you never told us like we were. No, we're always gonna. We always had.
I see sometimes I see kids today, whether it's at the middle school level or whatever, and so like, oh, like we're gonna lose today. I look at them like, are you serious? Like, yeah,
I never thought.
Why would you show up and play then? Right. Like, if you ever think you're gonna lose, like, why show up and play? And
you guys were a different group. You know, you guys had a lot of good heart to you. You know, and that's not me. Your mamas and daddies pumped that into you. You know, they pumped that into your bloodlines. You know, so you guys showed up and you weren't quitters to begin with, and we just tried to kind of play off that. But, you know, you guys were prepared. You were students of the game. You did what you were supposed to do, and trust me, the coaches, we did our part. You know, made sure that we scripted everything, and we got the looks at everything we were supposed to get looks at. And so when we got into a game, if something was different, it wasn't that big of a shock. Okay, let's relax. All right, here's the answer. Let's fix it. You know, there was no just like throwing shots in the dark and guessing. It was planned. It was, you know, practiced. And a lot of times I'm sure it seemed mundane to you guys, and it was repetitive, like, dang, why are we doing this again, coach? Well, because it's important. Mm-hmm. You know, that's why.
Yeah, and those are the things I miss the most. Like, obviously game days are great, and, you know, after a win, but the things you remember are like the practices. That's the shit I still remember. The things I hated the most, like, damn, Mondays, you know, or whatever it is, showing up, padding up for practice. But those are the things I now like miss probably the most. It was practices.
Well, you know, I don't know if you guys were there, but I made shirts up for the coaching staff for the week, and we used to have to wear the specific shirt. So Monday was Mental Monday. Yeah. You know, now we're going to put in the game plan. We're going to watch film. We're going to go walk through. We're going to put in next week. Tuesday was Tempo Tuesday. We got to get going. Boom, 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 boom. You know, and work it.
Work Wednesday. Let's go. I'm pumped now.
And then Thursday was Praise Day.
Yep.
Yeah. I couldn't fit a, you know, T into Praise Day, but, you know, that was, you know, don't make me mother F you guys on Thursday. Remember, you probably heard that a couple of times. Everything, it should be, that's exactly right. That's like you. Great job. And, we should be rolling into Friday just flying.
Yeah. There's some times we had some bad weeks. I think there's a couple times we had to pad up on Thursdays a couple of times.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was some of those times, and that's how it goes. And that's how it goes with everybody.
And that's life, though.
You have your highs and lows, and, you come off a big win or you're getting ready for a big win, and the whole feeling is just different throughout. So, there is some changes that need to be made. And then, of course, now with, you're playing Thursday night games, or, God, my kid ended up this week with the fires and all that. They canceled their game. They ended up playing a Monday game.
Yeah.
Monday night high school game. Who would have thought of that? It's nuts.
Right.
So what's the story of Coach Likewise? So obviously you've been doing this a long time, but where did the roots come from? Why did you want to be a coach? Why did you want to be a football coach?
What was your childhood like?
My gosh, I played football since the time I was 5. I was flag at that time, and my mom and dad wouldn't let me play tackle football till I was in 8th grade, and so I played flag up until then, and so 8th grade year, I was going to play tackle football, and we're all lined up there, and Coach Mann, I think he was our head coach. Yeah, he was our head coach, and Pop Warner. And he started talking about, all right, linemen go over here, fullbacks go over here, wide receivers go over here. And I didn't know what I was. So I was kind of still sitting there. But I'd been a fullback, and I had good hands, I thought. I caught a lot of balls. And they go, all right, go there with the lineman. So I went over to the lineman, okay, whatever. And I was a guard. And but I always wanted to play defense. I always wanted to be a linebacker, and I played guard forever. But I always wanted to play defense. And then a good friend of mine, actually, we were best friends and throughout high school and stuff. Got kicked out of a game, and they put me in at linebacker, and I had 10 tackles in the second half. And so I played linebacker every time after that, and then Coach Mann was like, God, who's that guy? And I'm like, it's me, Coach, it's me. Put me in.
I'm the one doing it.
Put me in. And so my whole deal after that is I wanted to play linebacker. So freshman year, played guard and linebacker. And then at Monache, as a sophomore, we got a new coach. His name was Mike Henson. And he didn't know anything about me. All I knew was just run around and play football, man. Just hustle. Just hustle. My dad instilled that, maybe my brother. And so I just wanted to play defense. That was always my main thing. You wanted to play guard, I'll play guard, but I wanted to be a linebacker. And I was fortunate enough that Jeff Brown had got done playing baseball, got done playing in the Dodgers organization, came back, and he was coaching. He was going to coach us for a year and court his future wife, Cindy, but he ended up coaching us, and I've never learned more football than that guy. I mean, where I started and where he took me was just like a quantum leap. He taught me about the game, and that's not to take anything away from some of the great coaches I had with, Greg Boyer, Mike Henson, Chuck Teal was crazy. He was our defense coordinator. That guy was crazy, man. So I ended up playing linebacker and guard, and we went both ways back then, kind of. And high school got over, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just know I wanted to play football because I loved it so much. So I went to, at the time, you guys don't know this, but at the time we still had a football program at Porterville College. So I went out there. Well, I played in the Tulare County or East-West All-Star game. And the day after, the coach from Porterville College called me. His name was Steve Peck. He said, "Hey, you interested in playing?" I was still asleep on the couch. I was tired. Felt like hell, I played a football game. Yeah. He called me about 9 a.m. I think my mom and dad were, my grandma was over there, and she goes, oh, Chris, you got a call. I said, okay, and hello, Hey, Chris, this is Coach Peck at Porterville College. Yeah. Hey, you want to play football over here? Yeah, sure. When do I need to show up, Coach?
That's awesome.
Okay, I hung up the phone. So I played there for 2 years. I got a scholarship. I went to Carroll College in Helena, Montana. And I went up there, and it was a different experience. Needless to say, gosh, I can't remember even the guy's name now. Petrino. Funny story here, too. Coach Petrino, this is going to tie in later, I'm sure. Coach Petrino was coached by Jim Sweeney in Butte, Montana. Coach Petrino then was the head college coach where I was playing. Well, his son was also Bobby Petrino, who played or who coached at Louisville, and then went to the disastrous tenure at Atlanta, and I'm not even sure. I think he's back at Louisville now. I don't even know.
Petrino.
But the crazy thing about this guy was I'd never seen anything like it. So I'm up at practice, and this guy's just firing up grits, just smoking rockets. He'd hammer 2 packs at practice. I'm sitting there like,
the Newports.
Yeah, I'm like, what the hell is this dude doing? And he was probably about, God dang, maybe 5'6", about 130 pounds. I don't know.
So me, pretty much?
Yeah, he looked a lot like you, but old and wrinkled. And I'll never forget, I'm sitting there, and, we're busting it, trying to get it done. I only knew one way to play, and that was just to be an asshole and get after it and do whatever. So I'm trying to make my starting spot. And the guy, so I hit this running back one time, and I'm trying to knock the ball out. Well, I'm punching at it, and he thinks I'm trying to punch this guy. He's like, so finally I just take him and throw him down. And he's like, get that California son of a bitch out of here. I'm like, oh, God, this isn't going well.
This is my fault.
Yeah, I did this all myself. But, you're trying to make your spot on the roster. You're trying to make a splash.
Trying to make a play, yep.
And so he wasn't a fan. And needless to say, if you got in trouble, if you missed a tackle or anything, there was this big hill right by our practice field in Helena and at Carroll College, and you had to run up this as punishment. So I was running up and down it because, I don't know. We all ended up, everybody's punished. But so I came down and I stepped in a sprinkler hole, blew my ankle out, and rolled down the hill. And so that kind of screwed it up, and then there was a couple games later, finally got good, and I was running down a kickoff, and my cleat stuck in some artificial turf, and I blew out my knee, and a guy hit me, and it's like, well, you know what, I'm about done. I think I'm going to go home. So I went home, and luckily I had some really good friends of mine that had coached me and that had known coaches at Fresno State, so I ended up getting hooked up at Fresno State, and this is a little known story, is when I first went up there, I said, okay, I'm going to be a student assistant coach, this and that, okay, yeah. And I went up there, and I showed up, and they're like, huh? Who are you? And I'm like, well, I thought this was a done deal.
Yeah, set up.
And I ended up for a year working in the equipment room, doing laundry.
Oh, shit.
Equipment manager,
yeah,
kind of.
I was equipment manager. And, but I knew that I wasn't destined to be an equipment manager.
No.
So every time I wasn't doing something there, I went into the office and I just volunteered. And I got in pretty close with Willie Robinson, who ended up going to, Miami, 49ers, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Coach with Dennis Erickson, and I remember he'd be the first one to show up. He'd be there at 5 a.m. Well, I'd show up at 4:50. I'd be there waiting at the door, and I didn't do much. I just inputted, formations and all that stuff. But it was something.
But you were there.
But it was something I already knew.
Right.
So he didn't have to teach me anything. I just, okay. And then I'll never forget, I was crushed when he left and he went with Dennis Erickson. They went to Miami. I'm like, oh, geez, now what? So in came Leon Burtonette, who had been the head coach at Purdue. He'd been the running back coach at Indianapolis. He's one of only 3 guys to ever beat Michigan, Ohio State, and Notre Dame in the same year. Well, he shows up, and we ended up being roommates.
At Purdue.
Oh, shit.
So at Purdue, he won all those games?
Yeah, at Purdue. And
Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State?
Yeah, and then he coached in the NFL for a while. He was the offense coordinator at the Indianapolis Colts, and it was really a kind of a great deal. And, my other roommate was Kenny Green. He played in the first round, he was drafted in the first round of the NFL draft by the Cardinals out of Washington State, All-American. I live with Dave Telford, who has, I don't know if he still does. I don't think he does. He did have the passing record at Fresno State. Over single season over Kevin Sweeney and guys like that. It was I was very fortunate in that, my kind of hard work paid off, and I got in there, and Sweeney liked me because I was Irish, and I'd fight anybody, and kind of stuff like that. And I'd spent some time in Montana, which is where he was from. So
that connection then.
So he thought that was pretty cool, and but there's the funny thing is that Leon Burton had told me years ago, we're out at practice and we're getting ready, and Sweeney used to have this deal when he'd walk through the lineup, everybody's stretching. We didn't used to stretch like that. We kind of graduated away from that because I thought it was a waste of time. So we did the movement prep.
Right.
But I don't know if you guys remember, go through an IGL and you guys would respond, I'd give you a cadence and you guys would say something, and just to keep your mind into what it is we're going to do instead of just, we're here stretching.
Position-wise.
Right.
Yep.
But, remember things like, great day in the valley.
No better place to be.
No better place to be. You see, you guys,
Absolutely.
It was all those things. Well, I learned that from Coach Sweeney, and that's to kind of get your mind right before you in practice. Just, we're not just stretching, but to focus on what it is you're doing.
Yeah.
And so I was so fortunate to land where I was. I guess it's probably luck of the Irish that I did, and I was able to pass some of those things on to you guys. But what a great experience it was for me.
Yeah. So what was the late Jim Sweeney like? Like just being under him and just kind of seeing him do his thing. What did you learn from him? What was he like?
Wow, man, that's
that's a big question.
That's probably a 4-hour show right there. The guy was kind of a living legend. He made Fresno State what it is. He made that. He built the stadium, did all that. But the thing that I truly got from him was, number one, be able to coach anything. That wasn't his main message. There was no main message from him, but
right.
You just kind of soaked it in from his. I wanted to be able to coach everything. So I was in awe of this guy that could just pull up in his golf cart and coach a kicker or coach a holder or coach a guard or coach a safety or corner, a quarterback. And he just pull up and coach everybody in an expert fashion. It amazed me. And that's what I tried to do. And I sat in every meeting I could. And I took notes on every position meeting we're in, I got methodical about it. And I really wanted to have the ability to be like him and do the things that he did. So I paid attention. I took notes. And the thing about him is that I really understood is that you got to sweep the broom clean. And then that used to be a saying, is sweep the broom clean. So when you're going to get, no matter what it is, you better have an answer. So, I mean, it might be something as simple as, hey, you brought coffee. Why don't we have creamer? Well, you better think ahead and have the creamer. Yeah. You better think ahead and have the...
Be proactive.
Be proactive. And that was all about him. And that was a great thing that made those coaches around him great, is that everybody was thinking proactively. What's next? What's he going to say? What's going to, and through him doing that and through his questions, you became a better coach. And, there is no school you can go to for that. There is no clinic you can go to for that. But unless you live it every day, and if you screwed it up, you got your ass chewed in a loud effing way. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I've been on quite a few ends of that, and it was amazing because and just seeing the way that guy prepared coaches. If you think about all the coaches that have been under him, but I remember Leon Burtonette, who was a head coach before he came to Fresno State, and he was a defense coordinator, and he was a head coach at Purdue, and they beat Notre Dame, they beat Ohio State, they beat all Penn State, all these guys, and he came here as a defense coordinator, and Sweeney hired him, and he was almost in awe of watching him. He goes, and I'll never forget, Leon told me, he goes, every first-year coach should spend a year under Jim Sweeney to see if they want to coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And guy was a legend, man. It's the lessons he's learned. And if you listen to guys like Jeff Tedford, you listen to Kelly Skipper, Jethro Franklin at clinics, or
right.
All those guys that were there, and all those guys that are kind of part of that tree, they all still relate back to him and thank him, and he was so far ahead of his time. It was crazy.
It seems like bigger. Like every story you hear about Jim Sweeney, it's like he was like bigger than life. Like just everything.
He was bigger than life, man. I'll never forget. One of the funnier stories, he used to tell us a story, and everybody loved it. It's called a 3-button punch, and I figured it out the hard way. And I think he was screwing around. I don't know. He might have just had a hard night. But we're sitting in the office, and we come out, and it was spring ball, so there wasn't too much tension. And he says, hey, you ever heard of 3-button punch? No, coach. I'm standing there. No, coach. I'm standing up against the wall. Yes, sir. No, sir. And he goes, I'll show you. And he goes, hey, anytime you ever get in trouble, and he squatted really far down, like doing a real low squat, and he had his fist like right here at his shoulder, and he goes, you ever any problem? He goes, yeah. He aimed for their 3rd button on their shirt, and I'm standing there like, oh, okay. Well, he does, and he unloads, and he hits me in the chest, and it comes up and hits me in the chin, and it knocks my head off the back of the wall behind me. And damn near knocked me out. That's a 3-button punch, and my eyes are watering. He goes, hey, you get it? And I'm like,
I got it.
Yeah, coach, I get it. And the dude had hands like a goddamn 2x4. I mean, they were gigantic. He used to be a boxer, and oh, my Lord. It damn near knocked me out, and I thought it was hilarious.
Who did Sweeney learn from? Like, who was his mentor? Who was he coaching under back in his day?
Back then he had spent time with the Raiders, Al Davis,
right.
All of those pro ties and all that.
So you're coaching at Fresno State, graduate assistant, was it? Was that your official title?
Yeah, I was a graduate assistant.
So kind of where did it go from there? You're coaching under Jim Sweeney, learning a lot. What happened after that?
Coach Sweeney officially retired, and Pat came in, and so I'm still there.
Pat Hill.
Yeah, Pat Hill, and so it's officially recruiting season now. So, we're working and going to dinners and trying to do all this, and we finally sit down. It's January 1st, and we're kind of in his office, and we're talking about stuff. And Pat remembered me from when I was a kid in camp back in 1986, and so we had kind of a little relationship, not much, but Pat came in, but he understood how hard I worked, and I had made a kind of a good name, and we had gone in, and Pat said, hey, I'm going to hire this guy to do this guy to do that. He goes, I want you to be in charge of football operations. I'm just dumb okie. I didn't know what that meant.
Dumb okie.
I didn't know what that meant. I knew I was a football coach, and I knew that wasn't a football coach. And looking back in hindsight, I'm dumber a box of rocks because, those two guys that come after me had ended up in the NFL being, player personnel guys or something like that, and shit. But so I ended up going to Hanford High, and it's a funny story how that happened. At the summer camp, I would work the coach's hospitality. So we're sitting there drinking a couple beers, and the Hanford High guys were in there, and we're playing cards and gambling a little bit.
Fuck yeah.
A lot. I'd like to tell you some stories about that, but there's some of those coaches' wives that might not want to ever hear this in retrospect. But I'm sitting there, and I'm in the office, and I'm planning a recruiting visit and doing all this stuff. And Tom Simbrinsky gives me a call, and he says, "Hey, I don't want to be disrespectful, but I want to offer you a job." I said, "How in the hell is offering me a job being disrespectful?" And he goes, "Well, I know you're a college guy and this and that." And I said, "I'm not a anything guy. I'm a feed myself guy kind of guy." And he said, "Well, I want to offer you a job." I said, "Okay, well, what's the job?" He goes, "Well, I want to offer you a football coaching job at Hanford." I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, what do I got to do?" He goes, "Well, I don't know. What's your credential in?" I said, "I don't know. I haven't even started one." And so I go down and I meet with him, Tom Simbrinsky, and I meet with Steve France, who's the athletic director. We meet at Applebee's. And so we talk about it. And he goes, "Well, what do what's your degree in?" I said, "Well, English." And he goes, "Okay. Can you teach that?" And I said, "I can teach whatever you tell me to."
Yeah.
He goes, "Do you have a degree?" And I said, "What?"
Well, no shit.
I haven't even started that.
Yeah.
But this is crazy times. They hired me to be the football coach and an English teacher, and I hadn't even started my teaching credential. And they put me in my room, and they gave me the keys, and they're like, "There you go."
No teaching experience at all.
Nothing. Well, I mean,
but
coaching football.
Coaching, yeah. I mean, which is a good
Well,
teaching,
no, I mean it's but I had.
But in the classroom,
Are you head coach at that point?
No, I was defense coordinator.
Oh yeah.
I was only in my mind. Look, I was only going to spend a year there,
right?
And then I'm going to get out.
And you undergo to match you.
College, probably.
No. I'm gonna go back to college.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm gonna get on and do my deal.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, in that time, my dad had a massive heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, I'm gonna stay local and help my mom out, and be there for my family and all this. And then I basically never leave. I turned some jobs down with some friends of mine that they would have been probably GA jobs but at Washington State, UCLA, Purdue, all those things. And but I stayed, and I'm glad I did, because I met a ton of great people, and you guys are included in that I never would have met anywhere else. And I still helped, my family and all those things. So it was, it's kind of a rough time.
Right. I mean, everything works out for, how it's supposed to at the end of the day. So you were coaching with Josh Young, was there at the time you were with? Your roommates with him, right?
Josh was my roommate, actually. Josh was the O-line coach, and I was the D coordinator, yeah.
So how did you guys already know each other before?
No, Josh and I did. Tom Simbrinsky, who was the head coach, and Jim Cranford, who was the coordinator at the time, we'd been at that Fresno State camp together, and we'd played cards and all that kind of stuff, and I had a good time. And after Coach Sweeney resigned, they called me. They were the first guys to call me. It was crazy. Hey, I don't want to offend you. I'm like, you offer me a job's not offending me.
Right.
Trust me. And that was a great time. There was that's the thing that I truly love about coaching, is the journey and all those people that I met along the way. So, Josh Young, who was my roommate, he was just he was the O-line coach at the time, and Bo Hill, who became the athletic director, was the DB coach at the time, and Jim Cranford, who's been a head coach all over, and all these guys have gone on to do bigger and better things. It's kind of interesting to see where everybody's ended up, and the funny thing is this year. Jim Cranford's son is playing, and we were at Porterville High School watching Kingsburg versus Porterville, and his son was playing. And, we got to hang out there, and we took pictures, and we sent it to that kind of Hanford group. And a lot of those guys had ended up going to Clovis. But we said, hey, we're getting the band back together. We're going to get a coaching gig. And it's funny how everybody started jumping. I'm in. Let's get it going. So it was really interesting and fun.
Yeah. So you're at Hanford. You spent a year there? Just one season, or?
I don't know. I think I spent a year and a half. And unfortunately, I did get in trouble there. They caught me on film.
That doesn't sound good.
We were playing, I don't know.
Film don't lie.
Film don't lie. Especially Channel 30 or something. I don't know, 47, whatever it was. And I'd drawn something up. And, I back in the younger days like then, you guys didn't get to witness that, but I used to be wild as hell. And
You're still wild, Coach. Don't.
No, I mean, I used to. But,
no, you're wild as fuck.
So
not that bad.
So we, I forget what happened. And something we had just talked about at halftime, made an adjustment, came out, and we screwed it up. And Channel 30 happened to be there or something, I guess. And I had him on the sideline, drew it up, and I wanted to make my point, so I grabbed the water jug and threw it, and then I kicked the sumbitch off the track, and they filmed it all.
That's it. Hey, did you see what Trent Dilfer did this year?
Wow. I didn't choke anybody out, but this is, back in a softer, milder time.
Softer.
And so luckily we had a great superintendent and principal, but so there were their parents calling in all pissed off. And, this guy's treating our guys like shit. He's kicking the water jug, making them look, I'm like,
yeah, I'm pissed.
I would have been all fired up. Like, hell yeah. Let's go.
Like, hey.
I would have had your back no matter what.
So, we used to stage shit like that. We used to make stuff up, and
absolutely
try and, stage it and get your piss hot before the game or whatever.
Always. My piss is always hot, no matter what. My piss is always hot.
Yeah. I mean,
Coach, I kind of want to talk about the transition from Monache to Tulare Union, because obviously
we haven't even fucking got to Hanford to Monache yet.
I know.
Let's back up a little bit.
Oh, should we back up? Okay, are we gonna get there? I just want to make sure we get there, Coach. Are we gonna get there? Are we gonna get there?
We'll get there at some point. So let's back up a little bit.
I just wanted to make sure we got there, because when I heard Likewise left Monache, my heart kind of broke. So I have to talk about it. All right, but if we're gonna go back a little bit,
let's go back to
But hey, Coach, I got to hear why. So
wait.
All right, we'll go back. We'll go back.
You want to go there right now?
No, let's go back.
All right, let's go back. All right, so let's go. So you end up leaving Hanford.
Well, okay, so I'm in Hanford, and then I'm gonna. I don't plan on staying. I'm gonna go back to college and start coaching. And then my dad has this massive heart attack. So I decide, okay, I'm gonna stay home for a little while and help my mom out and deal with my dad and those things. And in the meantime, I decided, well, I'm gonna help her. I might as well help out here because the Monache guys at the time, Mike Anderson and guy I played for, Greg Boyer, and those guys were like kind of courting me. So I wanted to coach those guys. I said, well, I'm here. I might as well stay before I leave. Mm-hmm. Then I never left, because it kind of things happen and
worked out that way.
And my dad's didn't get better really soon. He had a really bad heart attack, and so I stayed a while, and then. I met my first ex-wife, and we just kind of I stayed, But Porterville's home, and it's a great place to live. I don't know. There's you guys know the deal. There's the mountains are right there, and I love that, and I grew up with it. And the ocean's 2 hours away, and but the reason why you would stay is not those things, but the people and the great people that are here, right, and the great people that you're around. That's why I stayed. All my friends, all my family, all those things were here. So that's why I wanted to stay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like absolutely, and I can't stand I grew up with people that have friends that like moved away, and like people will like shit talk Porterville, right? And I can't stand it. I'm like, this is home at the end of the day, and right. What better place? I mean, you're like 2.5 hours from anywhere. The coast, the mountains are right in our backyard. Northern California, Southern California, and I mean, playing high school football or growing up here, like you anywhere you go, you make it what it is at the end of the day. I don't care if you have that mindset. You go down to Southern California, LA, right, and it ain't gonna fucking matter.
Right,
it's gonna be the same shit. Yeah. So you make it what it is, and that's that.
You know what? It is where you're at. It is where you're at.
Yeah.
I mean,
what are you gonna make of it?
I mean, there's never any question about that. It's you can be in the best place ever and think it's shit, or you can be in the worst place ever and think it's great.
Right.
I mean, it is what it is to you.
100%.
I don't know if you guys remember, but a lot of times out of practice, I would always say, "Be where you're at." Got to be where you're at.
Right.
Right. Well, that meant. It didn't mean being Porterville, or it didn't mean being whatever, but it could. But what it meant was be in the moment.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Be present.
Okay, we're at practice now. I don't give a shit, or excuse me, I don't know if you can say that on here, but I don't care what happened in the day. You flunked the test, you your girlfriend broke up with you, you had a shitty lunch, whatever. Your teacher's an asshole. If you had Mr. Likewise, that's fine.
Yeah, he was kind of an asshole.
But be where you're at. When it's time to be here and practice and focus, be where you're at. And I got that from a coach of mine, Coach Chuck Teal. Be where you're at. I'm here right now. Let's focus on this. Let's do this. And we'll deal with all the other bullshit later.
Yeah, and it's hard. Like as a high school kid, and man, you're thinking about girls, like where we, like especially on Friday nights, like where are we going after the game? Like what are we doing after this?
Hearn was always trying to get the ladies.
You know what? I didn't worry about all that. My main worries were in this order. Number one, first day of school. Have a good practice because you got a game that way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. And that's always just a shit practice. Number two, picture day. Have a good practice because I would always schedule that. I got smarter later and we scheduled it after the season because I didn't want to see those shitbird quitters in my picture. So we later on I scheduled it later after the end of the season. Or, like week 10 or whatever. But there's all those things that, as a coach, as a player, you don't really realize, we're going to take pictures, we're going to do.
It's the little things.
As a coach, you're like, shit, man, we still got to get a walkthrough in here. We still got to, get through 2 minutes. Absolutely. We still got to get through the game plan. We still got to, so it's funny. It's hard. And I think now that you guys are getting older and, you watch more ESPN Monday night and all that shit, and you start coaching your own kids' teams, you start realizing some of those things that I was always in a horrible mood when we passed out gear, when we took pictures, and we took back gear. Because the guy in the front of the line when you're passing out gear was, get out of here, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You got the best pass, but he went.
Yeah, picture day, I got to get something done. Because we're playing a game, and taking back gear, you turds wouldn't bring it back, and I had to chase you down to get it, and go get it out of your locker.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like just it's like the little things, right? Like those little things for.
I don't know if you guys ever heard me, but I always just talk about pay attention to detail.
Yeah,
you ever heard that at practice?
I've heard that plenty of times, Coach.
Pay attention to detail.
Heard that every day.
So I told you to take 10 steps, not 11 steps, 10 steps, or
Right, and it's like the breakdown of practice, right? Like, every minute of practice has a purpose, and I go back and like read like John Wooden, right? Like his philosophy and his coaching things, and he would do this exact same thing, like 5 or 10 minute drills here. Every minute of practice is accounted for because you only have an hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours of time. And I mean, by the end of the season, like that time adds up. And if you're wasting 5 minutes here and there, by the end of the season, that adds up to hours.
Right. Well, you guys never understood that we always started with special teams.
Right.
So we would give that 15 minutes. And then, we used to, I'm not sure if we did it with you guys or not, or we quit it, but I did the same deal. And so the problem was we didn't have any support. So I used to have water set up everywhere. So I figured out that we're going to save 257 minutes a year by having water stationed. But, shit. I ended up doing that too. Plus game, I was fuck it, fuck it. But every minute you can get back and practice. So our practice plans were always set up in 5-minute segments.
Right.
Right, and it always followed a pretty set schedule. But we did things a lot of guys didn't do. You guys didn't know it, but I don't know if you remember how we would start practice with, we do movement prep and all that. We didn't stretch and do all that bullshit. We would do movement prep, and then we'd jump right in the goal line. Kind of get your piss hot. But it was important to us that we were good in that black zone.
Right.
And you guys didn't even understand at that time that we were working situational offense and defense.
Well, I see it in football nowadays. No, you watch NFL. No one knows how to run goal line.
Yeah.
Coach likewise knows how to run the goal line.
I don't know.
No one knows how to tackle either.
Yeah, shit. I don't know about that. There's a lot better guys out there than me, but we were true to what we did.
Yeah,
right.
And we were true to our guys, and we knew. I knew, or all our coaching staff, we got together and we knew what our league was about, and there was no way that we were going to keep up with Tulare Union, who had 3-4 future NFL guys. Mm-hmm. We were going to beat them being tough some bitches.
Yeah.
And getting in your ass and fucking playing relentless ass defense and playing great special teams in all three phases. Right. And we practiced all that. All the time. And we started with special teams every day, and then we'd go into goal line, and we worked those situations all the time that not a lot of guys do or did at that time, or some of them still don't do it anymore. Fuck.
And it shows, like even in college. I mean, fuck, man, special teams, like it shows up when you don't spend a lot of time on it.
We don't even forget about the Tulare game versus us. Remember, we were at what 24-0. We ended up losing that game. We were up 24-0 at halftime. I'm sure you remember that, Coach.
That was a
Keontae Vernon game.
Oh shit, that was a TV game.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one later.
Was that Harris? Harris is running back.
Freshman, yeah.
He's a freshman, just running all over us.
He went to Fresno State. Played in Fresno. Yeah.
He went to Nevada.
Did he?
Romello?
I thought he went to.
Yeah.
Oh no!
I thought he went to Fresno,
Romello.
Oregon State.
No, it wasn't Romello. It was God dang it!
I think it was Romello Harris that game that just
he did
dominate.
He was playing wide. I think he was playing like a slot wide receiver as a freshman though.
Yeah.
We should have won that game though. We were dominating the whole game and just
one player. It happens, man.
Keontae.
So you started when you started Wenatchee 2001, not 2099.
2001.
2001.
I think I came over in 98, I guess.
What's next for you, Coach? That's my question. You're at Union right now.
Well,
no. I'm not at Union right now. I'm
you're wearing Union gear though.
Well, I'm close to those guys. We
free agent.
I'm a consultant.
Okay. Okay.
Well, here's the deal: is when I got canned at Wenatchee, it wasn't because of.
This is what we got to talk about. Thank you. This is what I want to hear. Canned at Wenatchee.
Are we getting there?
Yeah, okay. We're getting there.
Well, it wasn't because of coaching. It was because I lost my temper, and I how do you say it? Motherfucked everybody in the administrative region. And I said some things I shouldn't have. But it ended up being a positive for me.
What about blessing in disguise?
A blessing in disguise, and it kind of got me out of the loophole. So I went over and I coached it. Actually, I took a year off. And I just kind of figured out what the hell I was doing. And I stayed in touch, and I figured out what the new trends were in coaching and this and that. And a good friend of mine, Darren Bennett, called me and said, hey, I want you to come over and help us. So yeah. I like football again. I like football again. I'll come over and help you. And the good thing for me is that after school I drove over there and I coached football, and then I got in my car and I went home, and I didn't have to deal with all the bullshit. I didn't have to deal with administrators or some
parents,
slappy admin or parents or whatever. I just coach football. And that's all I ever wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And the problem is being a head football coach nowadays is you spend very little time coaching football, which is what I really love to do, as opposed to dealing with, bunch of
shitheads and
yeah, shitheads or bullshit or whatever.
Right.
I want to coach kids. I want to be involved in that. Hey, I want to talk about technique. I want to talk about life. And then you got all these booger eaters that want to do their thing, and it doesn't really affect anything one way or the other, except it makes them feel like they're important, I guess. I don't know. I just want to coach football and make a winning product out of there. I don't know, where did that story go?
No, so I mean, like, I have a couple of other questions I want to kind of go back to, but
get it?
Like today, I feel like just seeing from my avenue and now kind of reflecting back to your vantage point, being a head coach, there's so much you have to deal with, right? And whether it's boosters or parents, and I see it I see it now, and I didn't. I guess I was kind of probably naive in this sense, but I didn't think I'd have to deal with like, my kid's not getting playing time, and like, okay, I say this sometimes I have to kind of hold back, but it's like, this isn't City League. You're not paying for this. This is, whether it's middle school or high school and beyond, like, it starts getting competitive, and we sign we have parent and student contracts where no one's guaranteed playing time. But hopefully you'll put the work ethic in, and maybe that can turn into playing time or learning lessons, whatever it is. But man, I see it all the time, whether it's kids and parents, and especially coming out of the pandemic now, it's like, I just had to take a deep breath, and it's like, shake my head. I don't know.
That's a lot different, I think, at the youth level or the
right.
8th grader under
right.
level, whatever they call that. At the high school level, and I've had some booster parents who were, high up there, I guess, and thought that would help them in playing time or whatever. But in my squad, it was always the only thing that's going to help us win is us, right? So if, I'm sorry that you put in a bunch of time to make your kid's high school experience better and your kid didn't start out, that's on you. If you think I'm not going to start the best kid I think that's going to help us give a chance to win, well, sorry that you don't understand that. And I've had that a couple times. I've had a couple parents like shun me publicly because I guess I didn't start their kid, but I have no hard feelings about that at all because your kid didn't give us a chance to win. I'm going to put the best product on the field.
Sure.
I expect the 10 other kids on the field deserve that. I don't care what the 11th kid person, you think your kid's Jimmy Short always told me that every mama crow thinks their baby crow's the blackest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But I can always guarantee this, and I've had, and the funny thing is, it's always seems to be the quarterback parents that are going to call you on it, right?
Right.
You son of a bitch, you should have been starting my kid, and whatever.
And in the back of your mind, the parents, like, going into the year, the ones that are probably going to say something.
Actually, I've heard some horror stories everywhere else. I was actually kind of pretty blessed. I never had that. Every once in a while, but I don't know.
Well, you had that saying, give it 24 hours.
Yeah.
If you have a problem with what I did, you'd always say that, coach. You'd be like, if there's something going on, just talk to me in the morning. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's probably a good thing, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Because you probably would have fucking motherfucked somebody.
Well, I've been known to have a temper a little bit. But honestly, I never had that problem, except honestly, the only position I ever had that problem with was getting quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And it was the second string quarterback. And hey, trust me, I swear to God, if your kid was a guy, I would have played this some bitch, and he would, would have led us to a national championship. But he wasn't that guy. He wasn't that guy in practice. He wasn't that guy in warm ups. He wasn't, I mean.
You're not that guy, pal.
Yeah, you're not that guy, pal. Do you honestly think that I'm going to start some guy because I
like you?
I like your parents better, or I could give a shit less?
Absolutely.
I had a parent one time, and it wasn't a quarterback, it was a lineman. He goes, Coach, my parents passed away, and they left me a lot of money. I want to give you $5,000. And his kid was a very average player, but he was starting for us. And I said, well, I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to stop you right there. Don't give me this money if you think this is going to, sway your kid's playing time one way or the other, because he's on the brink of losing his job.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, Coach, I don't give a shit. Here's the money. And it actually had no bearing on it, whatever. We actually graded them out, I mean, I think people think sometimes that, we're trying to screw their kid. You know what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to win a goddamn football game.
Fuck yeah, you are.
And I don't give a shit who it is doing it. I don't give a shit what number it is. I don't give a shit how much money mom and dad put into the booster club. I'm trying to win a goddamn football game. Right. And that's all that matters to me. I'm trying to do the best of the whole.
Right.
Not Johnny, not little Johnny, not your little black crow. We're trying to win it for everybody. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, sometimes people don't understand that. I mean, I've had some parents sometimes see me out in public. I said, hey, what's up, John, or whatever. And they'll give me the stink eye and walk away. I'm like, are you shitting me?
Right.
Okay, well, yeah.
Do it again.
Tough shit. Your kid,
Your kid sucks.
well, get better.
Yeah.
Get better.
Yeah.
Get better.
Yeah, hopefully, and it's like the life lessons you learn from football, right? And like you go back and look at all these coaches, and I mean, I've read a lot on John Wood, and I brought him up before already, but he had a player named Swin Nader. Mm-hmm. Never played a game, never started a game for John Wooden in 4 years at UCLA. And I think if you look at a stat record, it's like, like one rebound, a couple rebounds, like no points, a couple minutes in 4 years, right? The guy goes on to play like 8 or 9 seasons in the NBA. It's very successful, right? But Wooden always had this philosophy. And I mean, Swin Nader was playing under Bill Walton and all these All-Americans, right? But he, his practice players, like those guys that are not playing, they had a very importance, and he communicated that to them. That you guys are very important, right? You're helping Bill Walton. You're helping the starting 5 or these guys that are going to play win a championship,
That's
right?
That's part of the team.
Yes, they're part of the team.
Everybody has a
role, right?
Role.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times it's hard, especially in today's society. When I was growing up, used to be able to teach guys that. Nowadays, everybody wants that corner office. Everybody wants to be a star. Everybody wants to be, all that bullshit. But to be a successful team, you got to have those type of guys. You got to have, players that are going to fill in. You're going to have practice guys. You're going to have all those things, and that's all part of a team. And unless you create that atmosphere where all of that aspect is important, you're doomed to fail. If you create a elite, we're starters and you guys are turds because you don't start, you're doomed to fail. You're not going to win a shitting thing. Unless it might be, the Pleasant View invitational shitbag, whatever. Right. You know what I mean? But and that comes down to coaching, and if you can positively create that within your system, and everybody understands the role, and not everybody's going to be a star, you're going to be successful. You know, right. I mean, I think you know, especially you guys, did a great job about that. You didn't give a shit about who was being the star and who wasn't, and all that. And you know, as long as we won, everybody got you know, their accolades and all that stuff. But I don't even think accolades and all that shit matter to you guys.
No.
You know, I was just like, man, let's play. We're doing it for each other. Let's roll, and let's be about it.
Yeah, that team. 2012, I think it was 2012. Was it? Yeah, 2012. That team, very, you know, like we were very small, but fast. Very intelligent. I feel like just overall very intelligent group. You know, Matt Stevenson, and you have all these guys on defense and in offense as well, and just a like you said, very unselfish group of people. And to this day, like, you know, working in education and probably working even, you know, law enforcement and stuff like that. To this day, going back to that team, most of those guys on that team are successful in one way or another. Most of them,
of course.
You know, I'm not best friends with everyone. With, you know, Eric and a Blad and a small group of them, but I still kind of see and keep in touch with most of them. We were pretty close, that whole group.
And that's why you guys had success is your closeness and the way you guys, you know, I always knew there's two ways I always judge a team. Number one is that first day we got in pads and we get on the boards, and if you know, we'd hit a couple bit and we'd call guys out, and then all of a sudden you call somebody out, who you want to hit, and if it was awful quiet, I'm like, oh, shit, it's tough here. These guys ain't going to hit. We're a bunch of cowards. Yeah. But you guys got after it, and you were calling guys out, and that was great, man. You know, you weren't afraid to fail.
Right.
You were getting after it. And I'm like, man, we're going to have a good year. I could always tell. I used to tell my coaches all the time. I said, man, I can tell if we get after them boards and we got guys calling guys out, we're tough. And that's what you have to be at Monache. You got to be tough. You're not going to get those world class athletes.
Yeah, you're not going to have those Casimir Allens.
But we're going to beat you with toughness, and we're going to beat you with you know, being mentally tougher than you and smarter and on top of our game and all that stuff. And I've had years before where get on the boards and nobody call each other out. I'm like, oh shit,
bad year.
We gonna get whooped. We got a bunch of. We're scared.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I remember first game of the season we lost like 30-0 against Lemoore. I remember that. And I remember coming back in the locker room after the game, and I don't remember who I told that. It must have been Coach Nava or somebody. I said, "We're gonna be all right." Like I remember like saying that. Like I wasn't mad. I just remember like still having confidence. So even after we got shut out 30-0. I remember like we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna be all right, and we were. I mean, obviously, it wasn't like there.
Well, I think that Lemoore team went on.
They won a Valley title that year.
Yeah,
wasn't it like Hanford Lemoore in the Valley? Oh, yeah. It was like I remember that.
It was something crazy. Yeah.
They were good.
I mean, you know what's crazy is coaching and thinking back is, you know, I rarely remember the wins.
Right.
I rarely do. But I can tell you, I can think back and think about that third and second down, you know, 3rd down and 2 that we screwed up in 1967.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what that is, but that's some kind of weird thing I got going that, you know, we won, we did this, we did that, but it's those coaching moments or something, I guess, that I remember the most. I don't remember. I couldn't tell you a score of a game ever.
Right.
I couldn't tell you.
That would I feel like most successful people, no matter what field it is, are very hypercritical of themselves, and they remember the mistakes, the failures, you know, in very detailed ways.
Yeah.
You know, and like that's a very common trait in very successful people, whether it's Elon Musk or whoever the hell it is.
It's you know, it's it's really hard as, when we would get done coaching early on, it would, so we get done with the game, it'd be, I don't know, 10:30, 11, whatever. So come home, and in the early days, you would have to pop in a VHS tape. And I had a stack of VHS recorders at my house. So I'd hit play, record, because you want to make one for all your coaches, and then you got to make one for a trade. And the funny thing is, a lot of young coaches don't understand this nowadays. I was talking to a coach from Hanford, and he was talking about how he had gone about it, and he was a young coach, and his coach had since passed on, but he said, hey, meet Coach Likewise on Highway 198 and put your tape on top of your truck.
Yeah.
And he'll find you. And I was telling people, a lot of younger coach about it. I said, well, yeah, I used to go to meet you. Hey, we'll meet you wherever, and we'll just put our VHS tape on the top of the truck. And that's how, you'd meet in a big parking lot, and you'd drive around till you saw VHS tape on top of the truck, and you'd go meet them, and and you exchange film that way, and then you'd go back and you put your VHS in, and you hit play and record, 17 times. Nowadays, shit, it's easier than, it's already traded, and you
that night.
And you punch in all the stuff, and first down, second down, and it's already broken down. Shit's a lot of times now is broken down for you. I'm thinking, you lazy ass coaches, some bitches. Back in the day, we used to have to do that, on our own on a VHS tape. Nowadays, it's done for you. But
absolutely,
I don't know if you watched. There's that special on HBO with Saban and Belichick. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I saw some.
And they're talking about going in back in the day, with the film, running into the machines like late at night and all that stuff.
We used to have a saying that, if you're going to be a recruit for us, you're going to be a 6-footer. Well, it had nothing to do with your height. It was 6 foot of film. Yeah. So you used to actually, it was, people don't understand it now, but it was like I don't know how to explain it, a film, and you would cut it with scissors.
Yeah.
And then put tape on it and make a film of it.
Yeah, that's what they were talking about on that special.
A cut up, and people don't understand that anymore. But they called them 6-footers. It had nothing to do with their height. It's like if you went through 6 foot of film and they didn't catch your eye, they weren't being recruited.
Yeah.
Which is it's really crazy. So I kind of been in that. When I first got in, it was that episode of, not an episode, but, it was like 8mm or whatever the shit they called it. And then it was VHS, and then it was, man, I thought we were shitting in tall cotton when we got DVDs, they put it in a disc, and now it's just, I don't know what the hell.
It's all digital.
DVD, digital.
Yeah, Huddle and whatever it is, yeah. What was your best, I guess, team that you ever coached at? I guess any high school wise, what was the best team you ever coached?
It's gosh, damn, that's a hard one to think about. Obviously, people are going to say it's those teams you won the championships and this and that and all the struggles you went through, but honestly, I don't know. I don't know what those championship years were or whatever, but I think it was maybe 2016 or something. I don't know. We went through. We were going to throw the ball, and we had some wide receivers. We're going to do all this stuff, and we got shit. It was like 3 games. We went through 3 quarterbacks, first 3 quarterbacks, and you never think about, well, I'm going to get the second quarterback, or shit. We ended up at the 3rd quarterback. I'm like, God damn, he got hurt. And I'll never forget, we were riding back on the bus from whatever game, and the third quarterback got hurt. You never expect to get to 3. And everybody's kind of in dismay. Shit, we don't have a quarterback. We were at our third quarterback. What the hell are we going to do? And I was I didn't know. Shit. Kind of trying to figure out what the hell we're going to do. And everybody's like, what are you going to do, Coach? I said, well, I don't know. I'll let you know in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm gonna think about it. And we came in, I believe it was, 2016, maybe I think Ashton White. I forget what the year that was. I said, well, we're not going to be what we have been. We can't do that. We can't throw it. We were pro style and slinging it all over the field and doing all that shit. And I said, well, we're going to be triple option. Everybody looked at me like, what the fuck?
Navy.
They're like, what the fuck? I say, yeah, we're going to be triple option. And Ashton, who was our best athlete at the time, I said, he's going to be the quarterback, and we're going to play football. Fuck. We're going to play really good defense, and we're going to milk the clock and run the football. Mm-hmm. And we ended up winning the league that year, which was amazing. It should have never happened, but the defense really stepped up. Coach Hernandez and them guys did a great job, and we did just enough on offense and milked it out, and milked the tits off the clock half the time.
This is 2016 or 2006?
Shit, I don't know. 2006 maybe.
6, yeah.
Yeah, 6.
Ashton White sounds that was
it
earlier,
must have been 2006.
I say 2016. I was like, damn.
No, shit.
That was earlier, I think.
Yeah, 2006.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the craziest. Well, we'd been in that situation afterwards, but we didn't end up winning league. But that year was kind of special.
I could just hear you yelling, Navy, 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 Navy.
Well, that was a formation call we'd have, and but it was like a grind weekly, man. I'm telling you.
It was kind of a similar situation. I remember when I was coaching with you guys that year when Stevie got hurt, and I can't remember his name. That went into backup, but you guys kind of did the same thing, triple option, played defense, and wasn't a very great record wise, not a successful season, but a lot of close games.
No, won a game, and just try and what are we going to do to help ourselves out and make something happen. And that's the thing that I really appreciate about the guys that are students of the game, and they would. We're going from, okay, we're going to be a pro style and we're going to throw the ball and run it and do all these things, to completely switch gears and, we're going to grind it out and be a veer team and option guy. And but that's a testament to the kids and their will to win and the fact they give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, now, I think we could ask your question.
Which one?
Menachie to Tulare Union.
Yeah, so.
I mean, you kind of answered a little bit already. But
what was that transition like? Because you were always the face of Menachie football.
Well, I'll tell you.
You were the face of Menachie football, Coach.
I always wanted to be that guy. I always wanted to be the face of Menachie football. I thought I was going to be that forever. There were some circumstances. My father was in heart failure, so he was in hospice. And so talking about my dad, in hospice, typically when they put you in hospice, you're basically, I think, 12 days, and then you die. Mm-hmm. Well, my dad was such a stubborn son of a bitch. It was about, 8 months, 9 months, something like that. But towards the end, it was getting bad. And me and my brother, were kind of help my mom out. So she would stay up all day, and then me and my brother would take turns and go over there and stay up all night. And at that time, we had a new principal, and I don't know what's going on. They were getting new keys or keying new things or getting new security or whatever. And so I'd gone through a lot of things. Hadn't got a lot of sleep, but so showed up for zero period. The key didn't work. A little upset with that I had kids showing up at 6 a.m. We couldn't even get in to work out. Multiple times. Couldn't get in the locker room, this and that. So I'd had a discussion, said, hey, I have a truck coming to pick up our reconditioning. It has to be done on this day, which happened to be Martin Luther King Day. Everybody was off, but, enjoying their day off. But I was down there sorting out pads and getting everything ready. I was assured that my key would work. It didn't again. Multiple times that didn't happen, but whatever. So it cost me another $500 to bring the truck back because you're on a kind of set schedule.
Right.
As they come through and pick up your pads and head north or head south or whatever. And I couldn't get into the facility to do my job. It is what it is. So I said some things that I shouldn't have. You guys know me,
Yeah,
I know the words.
You know how I said it, and
a little bit
how I did it, and I made sure everybody knew it, so I texted them, and let them know, and it wasn't probably the right thing you should have said, and it cost me, but it was a great thing. Actually, it helped me out in
long run.
In my life, I'm not sure it helped out the Wenatchee football program, but
absolutely not. No,
it is what it is.
It didn't help them out.
It is what it is. So, I was upset that it was going to cost me another $500 to bring a truck back to reload the reconditioning. Then now I was going to be a month later, and I might not even get my gear on to. Get these guys suited out in the fall. It's gonna have
it's like deadlines and budget but that didn't happen. They didn't want to deal with that. So is what it is. But honestly, it worked out great for me. I took a year off and kind of reevaluated what I was doing in my life, and it's been a good time just sitting back and restudying football, and I think if you stop studying football, you're dead. Yeah, right.
The minute you stop, you're dead. And I spent a lot of time with some guys, and then I, of course, Darren over at Tulare Union. First time we met, we were gonna fight, but we ended up being great friends. And we fish all the time, and I've learned a lot from him, and I think he's learned a lot from me. I think he's one of the greatest coaches that I've been around, and the whole time, everybody thinks that likewise was just taking time off. No, he's just studying, trying to get a little bit better. And actually, I've turned down a couple of jobs because I was offered a few jobs, and I turned them down just because my son is, and I just want to watch my son, and I'm trying to kind of get back in there. He wants me to coach him, and so since he says so, I'm going to get in there, but I'm not sure I can hold my tongue enough, but I'm going to try. So we'll see. And you know what? Honestly, guys, the bad deal is about coaching high school is that, I never did shit ever before. When I was coaching you guys and you guys were playing, I would never go anywhere. I'd never do anything, and that's probably one of the things that led to a divorce, but not the only thing. But so like when I was taking the year off, or last year, I could go to a Fresno State game with all my coaching friends. All the guys. And,
you got to invite us next time.
Hey, you're always invited, man. I'm gonna tell you what. We're at the southwest corner of Bulldog Lane.
Next year we'll go.
But we, I would always be there, and the whole time everybody's having a great time, and they're drinking and eating and watching the game, and I'm just thinking like, God, what are we going to do against these guys? And why am I not home breaking down film? And I still got to do practice plans and this and that and the other. And it's kind of been refreshing for me is to kind of been able to not be the head coach and not deal with all the bullshit and not be a coordinator but do my job and do all my practice plan shit, but still go to the game and have a good time. And it's a hard deal. I mean, I think a lot of people don't understand unless you've lived it. You lose a lot of sleep on that shit, man. I mean, it's it's not. I think it's a lot of times people think that we just need to make. Every mama crow thinks their baby crow's the blackest. Yeah. You know what I mean? Well, we just need to make him famous. Well, no, there's 22 other dudes and more than that on the team. And I never gave a shit about that one guy. Never. It was always about the collective we. And I was always...
We, not me.
We, not me, man. And I was always... more focused on what we could do, not what I could do. And I never won a fucking game. I didn't play. It was always you guys. It was definitely you guys. And it kind of is what it is. I mean, these guys that win, I don't know, shit, hundreds and hundreds of games, they didn't goddamn do shit. They didn't throw a pass. They didn't catch anything. They didn't make a tackle.
Right.
It's I never won a damn game coaching. It's you guys. It's players. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't got them guys, it don't happen.
Yeah, well, Coach, I appreciate just coming on today and getting to hear the whole story because we've never gotten to sit down and have this conversation today, and hopefully we'll be able to do it again. And just because obviously we spent over 4 years with you, and we've stayed in touch over the last almost 10 years now.
Yeah, hell, I got a shit ton more stories. You guys want to listen?
Let's we'll bring you on again, but. Before we end this podcast, and like I said, I want to bring you on again. But before we end this one, what advice would you give? Like obviously we talked about Pat, your son Pat, which we kind of Pat kind of grew up, running around the fields and when we were playing and shit, and
I think Pat was probably about I don't know. 8, 6, 7, something when you guys were playing.
I remember in film sessions and before games, Fridays, 5:30, 6 o'clock before, we're doing breakdown special teams and everything in games, and Pat getting up and giving a speech and shit at 7, 8 years old. I remember that.
Hey, how great. I'll tell you what, though. There's a lot of stuff, but one thing we did do well, how was that special teams call out, though?
Oh, yeah.
That'll get you pissed hot, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. that and then the national anthem, man, just get me fucking fired up.
Right.
Every time. Helmets up in the air, just like about to run through a wall. About to run through a goddamn wall after that. But Coach, what would you tell those kids, whether they want to go into coaching or be a teacher or go into business or whatever they want to do? Like, what lessons have you learned, and what would you tell these people, like, life lessons to be successful?
One of the things I would tell anybody is that and you've heard it, these aren't my words, it's someone else's, is that, you know, find something you love doing and do it. You know, then it's not work every day. You know, and that's what, for the most part, when I started coaching, that was it, man. I loved what I was doing. I love coaching. I love being around kids. It was all the other bullshit that kind of was a distraction, but I still every day could go out and be around you guys and teach you football or teach you something about life, or even in study hall. That's all I would say is, man, find something you love, something that, you know, that gets your piss hot and run with it. I know that's not real poetic, you know, and I'm an English major, and there should be something better in there. But I'm gonna tell you what, that's the deal, man. Find something to get your piss hot and run with it.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So last little segment we have is the Freedom Fighter of the Week, and this is someone that's helped you get to where you are at today and be successful, and you know, whether it's a mentor or a role model. Who's your Freedom Fighter of the Week? Or it could be more than one person too.
You know, there's a long list. I mean, I couldn't even tell you. I mean, there's so many people that have contributed to my success. I'm just where I came from, just a dumb Okie, ditch bank Okie. You know, all my relatives.
Same here. My relatives are from Oklahoma.
I mean, we're just, you know, a bunch of ditch bank Okies. But I would say that the man that kind of helped me the most and direct me the most, and there's many more, my father and everybody else. But I would say Jim Sweeney kind of focused all that and gave me a really good direction. But you know, I was on that path with my dad. Gave me a really good direction and kicked my ass and knew where I wanted to go.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Coach. I appreciate you joining and just, you know, telling your story and giving some insightful advice, you know, to anyone listening, and just whether they want to be a head coach or go into business or whatever they want to do, and you know, all the stories of Jim Sweeney, your father, and everyone else. So I appreciate you taking the time to be with us today.
You know what, guys? I love you. I'm so proud of you.
I love you too, Coach.
I'm sitting here looking in this studio, and God damn, I'm proud of you guys. And I thought you guys, I knew you were going to be successful, but Jesus Christ.
Bunch of nerds.
No, we appreciate it. I mean, like, football is that. I mean, just all the lessons. And being an athletic director today, I've started instilling some of those same, you know, whether it's study hall or just those coaching quips in my classroom, or you know, when I had to give we do pretty elaborate. We spend some money and we do elaborate banquets and stuff like that, cater and everything else. And you know, I've started giving speeches and stuff like that, and I get nervous. I mean, I'm a pretty introverted person, you know.
Yeah.
But just all those little things I've learned from you, and just being a part of the program, man.
Absolutely.
Like I start instilling that. So your legacy, and whether it's Coach Box or, you know, everyone that's you know, had a huge impact on my life, and obviously you've learned some from Jim Sweeney. So Jim Sweeney to you, to us, man, and we continue delivering that message back to these kids that are 12, 13, and even being a police officer as well. So
all that stuff that you know, I learned, I passed on, and you know, it's your job as a younger guys to pass on to somebody else.
Absolutely.
You know, and I know you guys are going to do a great job because you understood the lesson, and you do a great job, as you know, obviously the way you guys handle yourselves and the way you do things with the kids. It's amazing, and I'm so proud of you guys.
Well, thank you, Coach. It's kind of funny because, like, at the time we don't realize it. Like, we're like, fuck, this shit
Coach
sucks.
is on my ass.
This sucks.
He's running me again. He's a turd.
But man, sometimes it takes a decade, and you know, you start realizing those lessons. Like, it's the same thing with parents, right?
Yeah.
Like, at the time, it's like, damn, like they're being hard, they're being tough on us. But later on, and even today, like from my own parents, and you know, I start realizing, like, damn, they're right. And you start taking those things to heart and start like, dang, like I wish I would have been more intentional and listened back then.
Right.
Because you start realizing, like, yeah, they were right.
When I was about 20, I used to think my dad was ignorant, stupid. You know, he never went to college, this and that.
Yeah.
And then about 5 years after that, I was like, God damn it, Dad, you're the smartest man I ever know. Hey, I can't start my truck. Can you come help me? Now I got to rely on my brother.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I did all that book learning, so did he, but he paid attention when his dad was talking about, fixing cars and all that. Of course, my dad was a hard man. He was throwing wrenches and all that stuff, so I'd go in the house and bake cookies for Mom.
You're mama's boy.
Oh, definitely. My older brother, he'd stay out there and learn how to fix things, so now he knows how to do it, and I'm, hey, brother, come fix this.
Well, thanks, Coach. I appreciate it. Eric?
Hey, Coach, likewise. It's been awesome.
Hey,
love you.
I love you guys,
love
man.
you.
Yeah.
You know, you guys, shit, you're always...
You taught us a lot of moral lessons.
God, I hope so.
Yeah.
Shit, if I didn't, I was a shitbag coach.
No, I appreciate
Better
it.
than you know, Coach.
Yeah.
So.
We need to sit down one time with us and some of the rest of the coaches.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
tell some stories.
Yeah.
Bring him
Yeah.
on down Box and shit, even Boyer.
Hernandez and Box.
Hey, we got a couple weeks off. Let's do it.
Yeah,
down.
shit,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
All right,
Appreciate
Coach.
it.
Love you.